Hello and welcome to the Rask Network. What you're about to hear and see is limited to general financial information only. Please be sure to speak to your financial planner or refer to our financial services guide available at rask.com.au/FSG before acting on the information.
Welcome back to the Australian Business Podcast. Today I'm joined by Zara. Zara, how are you?
Good, Jordan. Good to be back again.
Yes,
how are you?
We're back. Good. Today we're doing a rapid fire. It's not really a Q&A because I'm just going to be asking you the questions.
Nice.
Rapid fire Zara questions.
All right. Let's see how we go.
Cool. So the first question is, can you briefly describe your journey into the marketing industry and how you've ended up starting your own business and what that's been like?
Yes, I can. So I started in an intern role, I guess, or it was for a not-for-profit organisation as a social media coordinator. From there, kind of transitioned into the agency realm in like a junior marketing manager or a junior account manager role. Really focused on, I guess, client communications, but also execution and implementing all of those paid campaigns. At that point, I was doing like email marketing. We were doing like website edits. We were doing Facebook ads. We were doing Google ads. We were doing social media, content creation. Like it was kind of an all-in everything. And then kind of the business grew and we kind of got more and more people working, more team members. From there, kind of transitioned into a manager. So I had a team of people that I was looking after into, I guess, like an organization kind of trainer role. So it was like a head of people and development. And it was really focused on helping new people come into the business, giving them kind of like a training program to work through, and then kind of continual touch points after that. It involved like quite a bit of HR and like human resources, hiring, those kinds of things. And then shifted into, I guess, like the freelance realm where it was really focused on quite a bit more sales and kind of having those initial touch point conversations with customers, which was really great because it gave me a big understanding of not just once a customer comes into an organization, what their experience looks like, but in that kind of pre-stage as well. Then I guess came to a point where I met you guys then kind of started the Inflection Marketing, which has been really exciting because it's really given me a chance to, I guess, tap into all of those different skill sets that I've developed over the last kind of decade in terms of the execution of the work, the people management, hiring process stuff, which I'm really passionate about, but then also kind of sales and like bigger picture kind of marketing strategy and business strategy. So it's been, I guess like quite I would say somewhat standard in terms of like the stepping stones, but I guess like the opportunities I had along the way was really fantastic as well.
Yeah, cool. And when you were still, I guess, learning the ropes, that first transition that you had to make from, I guess, working on the technical stuff to maybe freelance would have been, how was that going from just doing the work to, I've got to do the work. I've got to do work for my own business. I've got to also manage the people. I've got to worry about billing. Like, how did you manage all of that?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know.
You sort of just work it out.
You sort of just work it out. I mean, I had you guys to bounce off as well, I guess, once it kind of jumped into the like actually Inflection Marketing. Initially it was, I guess, I was doing it very manual. Like when I was doing freelance, it was, I was doing my invoicing through Canva.
Really?
Yeah.
There you go. Did not know that.
I had smaller customers, but it was like I was working with businesses for a longer period of time. I was doing quite a lot more consulting than execution stuff. So there was a few other businesses and agencies that I was working with on like a consulting basis where I would review kind of marketing strategies that they were sharing with their clients. So that was, I guess, a bit of a different type of interaction. And then also like marketing strategies, more like once-off conversations. I guess like the biggest learning curve for me was going from like the execution work in the early stages into kind of that trainer role.
Yeah. So
it really transitioned from, okay, I know how to do the work. Now I have to figure out how to explain to somebody else that's never done it before how to do the work. And then to be able to identify potentially where the gaps are in their knowledge, and then to change the way that I'm communicating or what I'm communicating or understanding what they need to move to that next point in their career as well, which I think that it was really fun. I think it was the most challenging, but it was also really fun.
Yeah. Okay. Why was it challenging?
I think because everyone learns so differently as well. And so the way that I'm communicating to you could be really different, and the way that you pick it up is really different to the person next to you. So then I have to then figure out as an educator a way to not just communicate to one person, but to communicate that same piece of information in 4 different ways, so that everyone at the end of that conversation can walk away with the same amount of knowledge.
Yep.
So that was really interesting. I think developing a training program. So part of my role in that organization was building out kind of a company-wide training program for everyone that came into the organization, which that was, again, also challenging because I'm someone that kind of flies by the seat of my pants a little bit and I know what works, but then I guess putting it to paper or, digital, it was on a computer, it was a program. But yeah, putting that into practice to give someone else like a program to work from, that was also really fun, but also really challenging. I mean, it ended up doing quite well. It ended up getting, like an international award for training and development in the agency space.
Well done.
Which
Round
was,
of applause.
Thank you. Claim to fame.
Yep.
But yeah, so I think, it's been interesting, but it's been challenging and fun. And I think that's kind of allowed me to move into this space of actually, I guess, like running an organization now.
Yeah, for sure. Do you find that when you were teaching people, you were really getting like how do you phrase it? Were you really refining your own skill set? Because I find when I talk through things with someone, it's like you're really nailing your own knowledge. And given that you've done that so many times, did that really help?
Absolutely. Yeah. It solidified what I knew. Sometimes it also helps to, I guess, because sometimes when you move into like a more of a senior position, sometimes there can be quite a bit of imposter syndrome of like, do I know it? Should I be here? Maybe I don't know this stuff. And then I think as you're teaching people, it then helps to solidify in your own brain, actually, I kind of do know what I'm talking about, don't I?
Yeah.
Like I can actually do this. And so then I think it helps you to be able to communicate it better as well.
100%.
So definitely.
Cool.
Yeah.
Second rapid fire question, jumping into more of the nitty gritty stuff.
Yes.
What are some key marketing trends businesses should be aware of in 2024?
AI, which I know we've spoken about quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
AI and AR is really cool. EGC. AR, augmented reality.
Oh, yes,
I think that's only going to grow and grow. EGC, so employee-generated content.
We've spoken about this
which
a few
we
times.
have spoken. So there's a few brands. TBX Skincare does it so well.
Yes.
So in love with their content. There's a whole chunk of brands that do it, but that's who we were speaking about earlier.
Yep.
So EGC, UGC, so user-generated content, which is your customers creating content for you. So it can be, if it's a skincare product, like a before and after. Here's me, on day 1 using this product. Here's me on day 28 using this product. This is what this transformation that my skin's had in a 4-week period.
Yeah, classic Weight Watchers.
Yeah.
Before and after.
Yes. Yeah. But I think, particularly for certain industries like skincare, that before and after is kind of one of the core things.
Yeah.
Like that's how you can really sell a product because you can actually show that it's working. And it's not you as a business trying to prove it to people. It's real people out there that have used your products, that are creating a piece of content that's showing other people that it's working. It's kind of a testimonial, but in a more organic way. And then I think the other thing would be like tailored email communication. So ways that we can be connecting with business owners, ways that business owners can be connecting with individuals in a really tailored way. So really building relationships based on what their previous interactions have been with you and your business, whether it be a certain product, whether it be a service that you offer, but ways that you can have a continued relationship with them, whether it be, repeat purchases, whether it be on a subscription model, but ways that you can be having that conversation and it's tailored to their specific journey with you and your business.
Yeah, okay. Cool. There's a bit there and interesting, the user, not user-generated content. What was the other one?
Employee-generated content.
We should start doing some of that.
Yeah.
That'd be hilarious.
Yes. Yeah.
Behind-the-scenes stuff.
Yes, totally.
Cool. So third rapid-fire question. What common mistakes do small businesses make in their marketing and how can they avoid them?
The most common thing I would say is business owners trying to do too many things all at the one time.
Yeah, I can relate to this.
Yeah. So it's like knowing that you need to do everything, knowing you want to do everything, not knowing where to start. So you just go for all of it all at the one time.
I feel attacked.
I'm sorry. You're not alone.
Yeah.
You're not alone.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it boils down to like a lack of direction.
Yeah.
Lack of identification of like bigger picture business goals, what direction you want to be heading in, so that wherever you're spending your time, whatever effort you're putting into your strategy is serving a greater purpose.
Yeah.
So whatever that bigger picture goal is, that then you know that wherever you're investing your energy into that piece of content or that marketing channel, it does serve that greater goal.
So true. And if I could add one thing, it'd be to do that and have that strategy and that goal and really stick with it.
Yeah.
Because at the start, when we started our business at Grayspace, it was a lot of that. It was like do this, and a bit of everything. And it was half-assed efforts in a multitude of different things. And then we found that the podcast is fantastic. So we just, really kept at that and kept nailing that. Hopefully nailing that, but just kept putting out the content with Owen's guidance, of course.
Yeah.
And now moving into that SEO space, like we've really had an understanding of what's working and like moving forward with that and not going like a finger in a bunch of different pies.
Totally. It's like you can direct 10% of your effort into 10 different avenues, or you can be like, all right, cool. If I put 50% of me here and 50% of me here, I'm going to achieve so much more in a much shorter period of time.
It's so true.
And the result and the outcome is going to be so much better as well.
So true. So true. Because there's so much out there. There's so many people, business owners have so many options.
Yeah.
There's so many things like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, SEO, email marketing. And it's easy to get caught up in a lot of it. Yep. And I guess that's why it's super important to have that plan and that strategy in place. So when the next shiny thing comes up, you don't deviate from the plan.
Yeah. And I know Daniel talks about like the shiny object syndrome quite a bit.
It's true. It's true. It happens in not just marketing, but I guess in all areas of business
all areas, too. Of course.
Cool. Number 4, how has the rise of digital marketing changed the landscape for traditional marketing methods?
Ooh, I think if anything, it's forced traditional marketing to be more creative.
Oh, yeah.
I think there's a few businesses out there that are still doing traditional marketing, whether it be through posters, whether it be through billboards, those kinds of things. And I think it's just forced those methods, those channels to become more creative and even incorporating the digital component into it, like QR codes and those kinds of things. Quite often you can still see businesses out there that there's a billboard or there's like a poster at a bus station, but there's a QR code attached to it.
Yeah.
So I think it's just ways that either it's more creative and more exciting rather than just kind of slapping a brand name, slapping a product on a billboard and hoping people buy it. It's coming up with like catchy phrases and taglines to can align to that certain demographic or that certain suburb or neighborhood, and ways that you can kind of craft compelling strategies and communication strategies to be really targeting that specific audience. Because then I think it turns heads and then it gets people to look. So I think there's still a place for it. I think it just has to be done well.
Yeah, nail it. Especially
like with anything.
Yeah, true. And some of those billboards, they are getting very creative, what they're putting up there.
Yeah.
There was one that I can't remember what brand it was anyway. But yeah, they are getting very creative. And I guess some of the more traditional marketing methods, do you think many of them are now like obsolete, or any of them are obsolete? Like there's no point in investing the money? Or do you think even things like the magnet drops and the letterbox drops, like the flyers and whatnot, do you think they still have their place for maybe a business that's focus is on postcodes and in an area?
Don't know. I mean, I know the return rate on letterbox drops is super low.
Yeah.
But I know industries like real estate agents still do letterbox drops.
Yep.
Just more of an awareness campaign.
Do you want to talk a bit about that and like why that can help, that awareness campaign? Because all the plumbing and all the electrician magnets are still coming through the letterboxes.
There's so many magnets.
They're still holding up the wedding invites and the engagement invites. So I guess, do they still have a place? And what is the purpose of that awareness piece?
I guess, when you're looking at a magnet, the idea behind it is that, it's always there.
Yeah.
I mean, if someone needs a magnet, sometimes you get like bombarded and you have 5 magnets in your letterbox that week. But, the idea behind it is that the magnet sits on the fridge, and then if something in your house needs fixing, you go, I can Google a plumber, or I know that I've got that magnet there.
Yeah.
I mean, I think at the end of the day, though, even if that magnet is there, as a consumer, I know me personally, I would still then move into the Google space and be like,
yeah, me too.
Yeah, but does this business have reviews?
Yeah.
Are they good reviews? So I might have your magnet. Doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be the business I'm going to work with.
And I guess that's why it's so important to have that well-rounded strategy where it's like, okay, magnet, cool. Do you have 200 5-star reviews on Google?
Yeah. Or do you have 3 3-star reviews?
Because if you have 3-star reviews, you're not going to.
Yeah, the magnet's doing nothing.
Yeah, pointless, waste of money.
Yeah.
So I guess that's why it's so important to have that well-rounded strategy.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So magnets, I guess, can work if you have Google reviews in theory. But I agree. I think that's something that everyone, especially these days, is checking, is that online presence.
Yeah. And I mean, I think potentially the idea for a business owner behind it is that it's like a cheap starting point, to get like a bunch of flyers printed or to get a bunch of magnets printed. It's a cheap kind of stepping stone into like the advertising space. I don't know if it's dead though.
I don't know if it's dead, but even now, like those things, it's cheap if you're dropping them off yourself and you're getting them printed at Officeworks or whatnot. But if you're engaging someone to print them, you're getting Ozpost to drop them off.
Yeah.
I'm sure it gets expensive.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I'd necessarily put it in my marketing strategy for a business. If a business is already engaging in that and they're already running, already doing letterbox drops and maybe their conversion rate is, 0.1 or 1% or whatever it might be, maybe it costs them a couple of $100 to get a couple of flyers and they're in the real estate game and maybe they get one client out of it and they sell one house and there's a $5,000 commission involved. In terms of, I guess, like return on investment, it's $100 and a couple of hours of your time.
Yeah.
And you might sell a house and get commission. So I guess it really depends.
True. It does. And I think like just to really reiterate that whole review, getting those Google reviews is super important.
Totally.
Super important. Being active, having that GMB page set up properly. All the information's there. You're updating it. There's photos. You have a process for getting reviews, no matter what business you are. Yeah. Super important.
Yeah.
Because that's
everyone turns to Google to be like, or Bing or whatever that search platform is. But everyone turns to those search platforms to be like, I know this business exists, but is it a good business?
Yeah.
And have other people used this business to reduce my risk to use this business?
Exactly. Especially if it's like a local thing, if it's a trade-based business or, not even local, any business, when you're looking in your area, no, more so local, when you're looking in your area and you want to see if other people in your area have used this company and they've got good experiences. And like I said, if you log on, there's 1,000 5-star reviews. So done.
Yeah. You don't even scroll.
Yeah. The decision's made. So super important.
Yeah.
Last question. Can you share an example of a successful marketing campaign that you've run and the strategies that made it effective?
Yes, I can. So there was a business that they started as a startup. So they did a Kickstarter campaign.
What's a Kickstarter for people who don't know?
So essentially, if I have a business idea, but I don't necessarily have the capital behind me to create a product, I create a Kickstarter page, which is essentially a landing page through a platform, and I can get donations from people, investors, people that believe in my product and believe in my long-term vision of the product, and then that can help fund the production of that product initially. So that's kind of how this business started, was through this Kickstarter campaign. They exceeded their goal really rapidly, really quickly. And then they kind of dived into a holistic marketing strategy. So they did traditional marketing methods. They had billboards. We did paid advertising. We did social media, so organic posting. We did Facebook ads. We did Google ads. They were releasing blog content. Eventually they started a podcast. So they really dived into all of these different avenues. They had ambassadors. We did a survey on their website, so a way of like understanding customers and customer data and getting more information about who's buying our product. So we had a survey on the website that helped guide people to what the product was right for them based on what their kind of needs were and what their experiences were. And they exceeded all of their goals within a 12-month period, and they're still incredibly successful. So I think the idea is, again, kind of bringing in all of those different strategies from all of those different avenues, organic, paid, traditional, ways that we can kind of be incorporating all of those together, have those strategies bleeding into one another so that we can be creating, I guess, a really well-rounded business.
Yeah. Was there one or two aspects of the strategy that really accelerated the growth? Or was it more so because it was so well-rounded and everything really just pushed forward?
They had a really unique business proposition.
Okay.
And extremely strong core business values.
Okay.
And they really, really honed in on them. So then they kind of became known as being like a disruptor in the industry. You know, they challenged the status quo, and they, you know, a lot of their ads, like their Facebook ads, were banned because of the content that they were sharing. So then they challenged Meta on that content.
Oh, wow.
And so, and then it kind of became, they did PR. So then it kind of became a little bit of a PR stunt as well.
Okay.
So it was super interesting. They were an incredible business to work with, really passionate business owners. And also, I think going back to education, they were really invested in educating themselves in all of these different avenues. So even though they were in the production and like the CEO, CMO production of the products, the overall marketing of the business, the finance of the business, they really wanted to understand how paid advertising worked and what the return was. And so going back to making sure that as a business owner, you're super invested in all of those different, it doesn't mean you necessarily have to execute them, but just to have an understanding, to have those really intelligent conversations with those people that are executing that work for you. So I guess, boiling it back down to, you know, what it was as part of that strategy that made it really successful, it was diversification of their kind of channel. And they also had really great content as well. So video content. This was before TikTok was a thing. But so they had really strong video content, really compelling narratives that really explained the benefits of the product, but it also really identified different pain points that people had within that experience and within their life, and how their product alleviated that. And they explored that really, really well.
Yeah, cool. So I guess that's a really good example of where it is very well rounded, and even on the execution level, it's hitting all of the targets and not just running with PPC and that's it.
Yeah, definitely. And I think knowing that, like, customer journeys, you know, the first time that someone interacts with your brand, it could be through a piece of organic content. It could be through referral or word of mouth. But then knowing that, like, there has to be a second touch point. Like, there has to be another kind of interaction that they have to have with your business. So then making sure that you're at the forefront of that you've got really great content, that if it is a paid ad, that it's supported by really strong content that identifies a pain point and explains that really well and highlights how your product serves that pain point.
Yeah, cool. Interesting.
Yeah.
Cool. Some golden nuggets in that episode, that's for sure. And if people do want to get in touch with Zara, any of our listeners, there's a link in the show notes below where you can book a free discovery call. So reach out and Zara will answer all of your marketing questions.
I will.
If anyone has any business or marketing related questions, the link's in the show notes below. So ask away and we'll get back to all of them.
Yes, we will. Yep.
Zara, thanks for coming into the studio again today.
Yeah, thanks for flying down from Sydney.
Again. No worries. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks for watching this video on the Rask Network. While you're here, don't forget to like and subscribe so you can get videos each and every day on business, finance, investing, and so much more.